Let's go. I hope you're beautiful lot. My name's Jason and this is my 80s podcast. You put the boom boom into my heart. Right, this is just a tiny 10-minute section. So this is my review of some classic 80s films. So I've asked people on my social medias to send me some 80s films they'd like me to review. So I've just watched this one again last night, and the first one is going to be The Lost Book. It had to be, didn't it? It was either that or The Goonies. The Goonies is coming, don't worry. So The Lost Boys. What can I say about? I always remember first watching this because it was released in 1987, and it was an American comedy horror. And I have to be honest, when I first watched this, I didn't realize it was going to be comedy. I thought it was just going to be pure horror. But 80s did great horror comedy, didn't they? Comedy. They did great comedy horror. And this was produced by the amazing Joel Schumacher. He directed the film, and it was just had some great Corey Fielding from the Goonies, Corey Haim in it, Jason Patrick, Keith Sullivan, Edward Herman, Bernard Hughes, you name them, they were in there. It was just, and I remember first watching this in the 80s. I was about 16, 17, so I probably wouldn't be that scared, but I remember watching it, and you did get them jump moments, but they were just, because basically, as you know, it's about two brothers that go with their mum, divorced woman, goes to live in, I think she goes to live with, she does go to live with her dad, isn't it? And it's a vampire haven, as they call it. So The Lost Boys was released in 1987 and was absolutely a smash. It grossed 32 million against an 8.5 budget. And I suppose it probably doesn't sound much now when you see some of the movies nowadays, but in the 80s, that was probably a lot of money, and that made a lot of money. So basically, I've just been watching it, and all I remember is the so as you know, it's about him becoming a vampire, isn't it? Jason Patrick's character becoming a vampire. So he drinks Keith Sullivan's blood, and then they hang off that bridge, that iconic bridge, and he can't on until he lets go, then wakes up in bed, and then starts getting all the light, and then just becomes this vampire. And his brother, as you know, played by the amazing Corey Haim, he's got two, what can I say about weird friends that are a little bit obsessed and a little bit just want to kill all vampires. That's all they want to do. And it's a great, for me, that was a great comedy trio. It was three of them. So it was just, and I remember, I've not seen it for a while. I've got it on Blue, but I've not watched it because I was going to do this. I thought, you got to watch it, Jay. You got to watch it and enjoy. And just as good as it was when I watched it a long time ago. I think the acting was brilliant. Everything about Lost Boys and hot. I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen. Jason Patrick. To be honest, they all were quite good-looking men, weren't they? But his obsession, wasn't it? Jason Patrick's character was obsession with Star, and the little boy that had been changed as well. And all I remember from that is the flying scenes. You know, the bit, because it was literally very, for the 80s, it was quite good. But I always remember the motorbike scene as well, knowing they're racing on their motorbike to start off with. Giving it some down. Classic, absolute classic. So The Lost Boys for me was probably one of the best film, not one of the best, a best film I've seen in a long time. It had everything. It had men, it had the plot, it had vampire. I mean, when you watch that now, drinking vampire blood compared to some of the vampire stuff you see nowadays is just, it's like True Blood and, you know what I mean, Vampire Diaries, one of the first vampire films ever, but it was absolutely brilliant, and I loved it, and it was still as good as then as it is. I personally would give that, I'd give that a 5 out of 5. Honestly, it's such a brilliant. If I gave that any less than 5 out of 5, you'd all be messaging me going, "What have you been watching? What are you watching, Jason? What have you been watching?" Give it 5 out of 5. So for me, The Lost Boys is just an absolute classic. So go watch it. If you've not watched The Lost Boys, you don't know where you've been. But if you've not watched The Lost Boys, go. I was going to go down to your local video shop and rent it on VH video. That's where I first got mine. That's all I remember, going down to the local VHS video store. It wasn't one of the big ones like Blockbusters. It was one of the small ones where I used to live. We used to have like on the precinct. There used to be like a little video shop, and you spent hours. Tell me you did not spend hours looking for VHS videos to watch. And you go all the way around, and then I come back again, and then I go, and you probably pick up the first one you've seen. But bring back VHS video shops, Blockbusters, whatever you want to call them. Bring them back. I spent hours there. I think when I first went there, they used to. This is how old I am. It used to just be VHS videos. There were no sweets. There were no pop. There were no video games. There were no. It was just pure VH videos. So go to a VHS video shop. So pick up The Lost Boys. You need to pick up The Lost Boys and watch it. Absolutely classic film. 5 out of 5. Anyone argues with me, I'm not dropping it to 4. 5 out of 5. Go and have a watch. Absolutely brilliant. Right, go watch The Lost Boys. Absolutely brilliant. At a VHS video store near you. That's my first one reviewed. Only takes about 7-8 minutes. Quick ones, great ones. Anything else you'd like me to watch or review, please leave a message or a comment and we'll get to it. Literally, it's like 6 or 7 minutes worth of me droning on and chatting about some great 80s movies. So have a good day, you beautiful.